Greetings, voyagers. Well, making a lot of progress on the storage situation here. And I just noticed something. It's really, really aggravating me now. I had to take all this stuff apart. These partitions, these wall partitions, all these shelves, to take all those shelf brackets off so that I could work in there, and then I had to reassemble it. And I seem to remember that some of the holes where I had screwed things in before seemed a little off. Maybe you can't tell it from here, but that shelf is crooked. It's higher on this end than it is on that end. I'm getting some distortion with the wide angle. And now you should be able to. There, now you can see it better. See that? So I either have to lower those two shelf brackets a wee bit or lift those two up. I think I'll try doing these and bringing them down, but that's for a little later. Right now, I have to build a platform that I can put my new 12-volt refrigerator on, which is being shipped. Should be here any day. That sucker's going to have to get pulled out to get access to it, to lift the lid on it. And and I'm limited to my vertical space here. I allowed plenty of space for it. It's only like 13 inches tall, 13 inches wide, and 22 inches long. So I gave it plenty of headroom. I gave it at least 2 inches of headroom there. But it's going to have to get pulled out to use it. And I thought about sliding it, putting some felt pads under it. But here's the thing. You see a lot of people with their vans, and they have refrigerators in them, and they're always putting blankets on top of the refrigerator to give it extra insulation, to keep things colder. And I think that probably does help, but hot air rises, cold air sinks. So when you lift the lid on that chest type refrigerator, where's all the coldest air going to be? It's going to be at the bottom. You want to insulate the underside of your refrigerator. Is more important, I think, than adding insulation to the top. You can still put a blanket on top, and do that. But if you really want to help keep your refrigerator cool, put some insulation under it. So that's what I have here. I have this left over from when I built out the van. So this is 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to put a 1/2 inch under it. And I'm sure that will help a lot. I mean, I know it's only 1/2 an inch, but there's already insulation within the unit itself, so this is extra. And then I'll put a blanket on top. So right now what I have to do is, what I decided to do, I kept looking for wheels. I want something that rolled out. And I didn't want to be doing the tracks on the side like a drawer. You pull a drawer out, it has those metal gliders that attach to each side. That's a lot of work, and it's very precise work to get that right. And so I kept looking at wheels, casters. And man, I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked. And the smallest I could find was 1 inch with a plate that screws to the underside of whatever it is you're trying to roll around. So you take that inch and then you put the chassis that holds it in the plate, and now you're talking like 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches. up off the floor. And then you get your 3/4 inch. This is 3/4 inch plywood right there, because this is going to have to support the refrigerator itself. Weighs, I think, 22 pounds. And then when you fill it up with food, you know, it could weigh anywhere from 25 to 30 pounds, I guess. So I can't use 1/2 inch plywood for that. It definitely will sag. So you got to go 3/4 inch. So you got your caster on the bottom, like maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Then you got 3/4 inch for this, and then 1/2 inch for the insulation. And now you're starting to use up some vertical space. So, and all the other wheels were, you know, 2 inch, 3 inch, 5 inch. I mean, forget about it. So I searched and I searched, and I was about to give up when I found these. Recessed wheels. We get these out into the light and see these a little better. The wheels are recessed into this threaded housing. So they only sit like, I think it's 1/2 inch and maybe 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch. I think it's 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. And so what you have to do is get this big round thing that it fits in. Is I had to buy a hole saw for my drill. Yeah, this thing is 2.5 inches, but you have to allow 1/8 of an inch. So I had to get a 2 5/8 inch hole saw, and then I needed the arbor to go with it. So altogether I spent about 35 bucks at Home Depot just for the tools. But nothing wrong with accumulating tools. So what I'll do is I'll drill that hole, one on each corner, and I have to space these just right. Well, first I have to cut the wood to the right dimension, and then I'll be putting one of these on each corner. So I'll drill the hole. These will recess down into the hole. Like so. And that'll save me, you know, probably 1 inch of vertical space. So that's cool, and they weren't very expensive. I forget exactly how much they were. You get a box of, I think they gave me 8. I think there's 8 in the box. So that's my next project. I have to cut that wood down to the right size, drill holes, and put those suckers in there, and then mount a piece of 1/2 inch insulation to it. So I got some work to do, and I'm going to get to it. So I found this flat bar in a storage unit that I rented. A previous tenant had left it behind. So it has a perfectly straight edge steel bar, and I have used this so many times to make straight cuts, long straight cuts. I just clamp them on. I just took the other clamp off. I just made my cut, and I just clamp it down on both ends, and I just run that saw right down. As long as it's pushed up against the side of here, you're nailing it. This was real handy finding this thing. It's a little clunky, it's a little awkward. I don't keep it in the van. That will stay in the storage unit. But yeah, that thing's come in handy real good. Well, alright, Voyagers, look at this. It works. It slides around quite easily. don't know what it's going to be like when it has 25 pounds on it. Let's put some weight on it. Yeah, it might be a little sluggish, but it'll work. These are all plastic construction except for these little axles up here, whatever you want to call them. And the screws, of course. The rest of this is all plastic. So we'll see how it holds up over time. But at any rate, they sent me a box of 8. So even if every one of these breaks, I can replace them. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, now I just have to cut a piece of insulation for the top of that and wait for my refrigerator to come in and we'll be all set. Thanks for watching. Peace and out. Marijuana, cannabis, sativa.